Anti-Netanyahu protesters gathered outside the Prime Minister's residence. Netanyahu dragged the State of Israel into a pointless war against public interest and security interests and caused great damage to Israel's security and image in the world.
Here's a summary of the article.
Anti-Netanyahu protesters will gather outside of the Prime Minister's residence in Jerusalem on Saturday night, protest organizers and NGO leadership announced. Organizers referred to recent Arab-Jewish violence in Israel and Operation Guardian of the Walls, placing blame with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and saying the sane majority demands a change from Netanyahu's leadership. Organizers called on political leaders to work to create a unity government in Israel that would lead to national peacemaking and save Israel from Netanyahu's dangerous leadership. Like a corrupt leader at the end of his road, the accused, Netanyahu, is leading Israel into chaos to prevent a changed government. It has been proved once more that Netanyahu is dangerous for Israel and there is no red line he won't cross. The Movement for Quality Government in Israel said that the organization would participate in the protest and would advance a bill the organization wrote that would prevent someone indicted for a crime from serving as a minister, prime minister or president. When a significant part of the citizens of Israel are worried about the meaning behind the Prime Minister's motives during security escalations, the situation is serious and cannot continue, said MQG. Each week we keep getting proof that someone accused of criminal activity cannot serve as Prime Minister because there is a real concern they will act to advance their own interests at the expense of national interests. The Ein Matziv protest organization said that Netanyahu dragged the State of Israel into a pointless war against public interest and security interests and caused great damage to Israel's security and image in the world. Index of 656,089 equals -1. The Black Flags organization called on party leaders to return to previous plans that would remove Netanyahu from the premiership. You do not have the privilege to play games. We are talking about the fate of a country. Save the State of Israel from the hands of Netanyahu immediately.
This post received a score of 35,000, with an upvote ratio of 87%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
The only other article one could find was this. I guess other news outlets will report it in the morning. Yeah, well see.
People are sick of this shit. Israeli government isn't going to get a pass on the one. I think it's a turning point.
I like the optimism. Me too. I just don't share it. I wish I did.
I understand where you're coming from, its history and the repetition of it. This isn't something which any nation can control. This is why we vote, pay taxes and do our civic duties. When you understand that your own government is doing this to someone else's citizens by crossing this very line, you realize the full implications of this if it isn't stopped in time.
About time. Netanyahu should have been sacked years ago. That the Hamas rocket attacks weirdly coincidence with the first possible coalition to remove this corrupt hack from office is evidence enough. The sad truth of this entire war is that Netanyahu sparked it to keep himself in office while getting renewed voter support. Hamas, meanwhile, enjoys a few $1,000 from Egypt going straight to its pockets. That's the big joke. Netanyahu's far-right alliance and Hamas mutually need each other. Cue the perfect uprising just to the perfect timing.
About time. Protesters have been gathering at Bibi's house every Saturday evening for more than a year. The energy was tapering off, now it's renewed. Like Israel just woke up yesterday and decided they didn't like Bibi. Gah. Edit, how long people have been protesting outside Bibi's house. Actually it might be even longer.
It's truly outstanding how little knowledge people feel they need to have on a topic before feeling they have enough to give their opinion on it.
This is the first time in recent memory when Western public sentiment was not decidedly pro-Israel. His people should be pissed.
It's been turning for years. Remember the flotilla? Netanyahu needs to be removed from office. By the Israeli people, for the sake of the region, and all that live there. This conflict was manufactured by his administration in order to secure his grip on power. Just in time too, since it seems their used to be a risk of long-time peace.
Not just removed, convicted of his corruption charges in Israel and tried for war crimes at the criminal court. He's an embarrassment to the state of Israel.
Netanyahu is a corrupt piece of trash.
The bombing of the AP and Al Jazeera headquarters and continued intimidation of the news media was a telling point of the corrupt Prime Minister's strategy.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.